I'm at a small lake near me called Abbot's Pool today on a lovely January morning. Really still, lovely blue skies. Yeah, Abbot's Pool. Oh, I know. I'm just going to show you the fact board. So here's the fact board for Abbot's Pool and Woodland. Yeah, it's a lovely small lake. I'll show you in a bit, but it's a pool made by monks in medieval times. It's still got tench in it. It's got, yeah, the lake's also got wild carp and pike and lots of silverfish. And I'll be targeting pike today. It's very peaceful today. Just hear the odd bird in the woodland. There's lots here. I've seen nuthatches, woodpeckers, old dead tree over there. It's probably a great place for woodpeckers and nuthatches. So I was just filming the fact board back at the car park, really little car park at Abbot's Pool. Now I'm just on the path down to the lake. I mean, it's a pond really, when you see it, it's pretty small. As I said, it was attached to the place where monks live here in medieval times. And yeah, monks were allowed to eat fish, but not meat or poultry, I think. Definitely not meat. So they brought carp over from France, Belgium, Holland, and bred them here in England, in pools near their monasteries. So they learnt how to breed and keep carp. Yeah, common carp. I think the mirror carp came over much more recently, possibly even in the 20th century, as a fish that grew much bigger. But the common carp, or really derived from the wild carp, were what the monks liked. So I'm just approaching the edge of the lake now. This end of the lake that you can just see through the trees there, certainly the summer is completely full of lily pads. So now at this time of year there's going to be lots and lots of lily pad roots down there. It's also extremely shallow, it's only about 3 feet. So the other end of the pool is where I'll be fishing. It gets to about 8 feet in the middle. And at this time of year, this temperature water, that's where the pike will be. So I'll be casting, I'll show you what I'll be doing, but it will be dead baiting with a float out into the middle of the lake, trying to tempt a pike or two. You can just see sort of island out in the middle of the lake there that the ducks are heading to. That's a sort of platform on columns, and apparently people in the past have caught carp right up close to that. So apparently there's still wild carp in here. Wild carp are extremely difficult to catch, they're very wary, so I don't really think they get caught here. See, the water's very shallow at the edges, but it's not going to be a challenge to cast out into the middle. It's probably only about 30 feet to get into the middle. I'm going to start fishing here. Yeah, I'll set up here and then I can cast out into the middle of the lake over there. Lovely. Right, I'm set up here at Abbot's Pool. Gorgeous morning. Let's see what I've got here. So I've got a big, far too big, but cheap free spool reel. No need for it to be free spool really. Witchwood rod, half foot. Pike Pro pencil float with the eye at the bottom, so not with the line running through. And then this whole rig here with the weights and beads all the way through to the rig and the trebles is from Leader, so it's a complete deadbaiting float setup with instructions on how to run the line through and set it up. So that's what I'm going to be using today. I'm just going to get the bait on and I'll show you that in a moment. I'll just quickly show you how I'm setting up the rig here. So one set of trebles, the ones nearest the float, go into the base of the tail, really tough bit of the tail. I'm hooking a roach here. And then the other ones will go up here in the flank or right up near the other fin. There you go. I've put one hook in to the top of the roach, leaving 2 barbs free. I flattened the barbs on all these trebles, so it'll be easier to unhook the pike. There you go. Right, I've just cast that roach out to about just beyond the middle of the lake. My float's just in the middle of shot there. Just about see it. I set the depth to about 5 or 6 feet. I know it's about 6 to 8 feet in the middle. I think I'm probably a bit under depth, but I'm just gonna see how this goes. If I have any problems with the float sinking without a bite or me just not registering bites, then I'll have a rethink. Okay, I've bought a chest mounted, well, it's basically something you strap to your chest that you can attach your iPhone to. So kind of like those chest GoPro things. Anyway, this costs £6.90 on Amazon, so I'm not expecting a lot from it. See, as I'm talking, it's bouncing around. But basically, I should be able to, if I get a bite, I should be able to film playing the fish. That's the idea. So let's see how that goes. My float is just there in the middle of the shot, which you will see in a moment. There we go, it's focused. Yeah, it's right in the middle. So, yeah, as I said earlier, it's in about 8 foot of water. The relevance of that being here, it means the deadbait is sitting pretty much on the bottom of the lake. I can tell because the float's not drifting at all. Probably just touching the bottom. Ideally, what I'd want it to be doing is looking like the roach is perhaps even just feeding away at the bottom a little bit, looking fairly natural. And I'll leave that there for about 20 minutes, half an hour. Just thawing a bit because it was out of the freezer, starting to leach out those roach oil, fish oils, and the mackerel oil I added to it as well. It's still very, very sunny. You can see on the film it's very, very bright. We'll just turn around here away from the sun. See, everything is Lovely, and actually starting to get a bit green for January. Lush. I just saw a jack pike come up to the surface about 6 to 8 feet in front of my float. It's probably about a 5 to 7 pound pike. Not really a jack pike, just a young pike. Really weird. Came up to the surface and just sort of mouthed something off of the surface, almost like the behaviour of a carp or something in the summer. But that's reassuring. And that's weirdly quite active for a pike. It must be, I guess it must be the sunny weather it's enjoying. But yeah, good sign. Can't see where it's gone. Yeah, just came up to the surface around there, gulped something and went back down. The water is dead still, like an actual mill pond. It's gorgeous. If this was summer, it'd be actually great to fish for carp here. Oh, to the sun. An old chap just stopped by and said he's seen some big carp here amongst the lilies up the other end of the lake. From what he was indicating with his hands, looked like definitely doubles, 15 pounds plus. Group of 10 of them. Sounds like that was just in the last couple of years, so hopefully there's carp still in here, which means yeah, I may well come up here later in the year. No activity on my float at the moment. Over there, far away. But it's only been about 15 minutes. Lovely trees up there with really twisted branches. Gorgeous. Something hanging from the tree there. What's that? Lost my finger. The ducks keep swimming along towards my line, and then just seeing the line on the surface in time and turning around. Some of them will swim over it, no problem. But some of them are a bit scared of it. Are they going round? Yeah, they're going round the float. They're not stupid. Just going around the back of the float now. 4 of them. Bye, ducks. Dying for a wee. There's no lose here, so I've brought my bait in, tucked it away in the Deadbait envelope, so passing dog won't grab it and hook itself. Be a bit embarrassing. So yeah, just having a wander, try and find a secluded spot to have a wee. I'm sure you wanted to know that. It's very beautiful here. I'm just coming down to the lower pools, which I'm guessing monks would have used for young fish. A bit muddy underfoot. Oh, I'll just show you what's going on here. You can probably hear a waterfall. So basically water comes down from the lake I'm fishing is up there. And then water comes down into this pool. There's a tree falling over it. Actually there's 2 pools, there's a really tiny one down here as well. Really shallow. I'm sure they would have kept baby carp in here. And then when they're big enough, moved them up, netted them and moved them up to the larger lake that I've been fishing. So that's where I'm set up fishing over there. I've just come around the side of the lake over this walkway, almost like a dam between the top lake and those little pools. And just over here is the monks' boathouse. So they would have kept a little boat in here, kept it dry, and that would have enabled them, or the boat would have enabled them to go out on the lake, catch the carp, feed them, etc. So yeah, all these structures all along here, probably 500 years old or so. Old. I'm just walking down the other side of the lake path. This is the other side of the small, what I think would be the young carp rearing pool. I'm actually still looking for somewhere to wee, but those walkers have arrived, and then some people with their dogs. Just before I was going to have a wee up a tree, about 5 dogs appeared and found me. Oh. Anyway, yeah, a tiny pool here as well. Lots of trees. Ooh. That's a big one. I may go and hide behind that. Right, I'm going to try out this chest-mounted camera thing. Have a walk around the woods. Oh, by the way, mission accomplished at that big tree. Say no more.
Morning.
Hi. There's been a little bit of movement on my float a few minutes ago. I guess in carp fishing you call it a line bite, but basically the float moved a little, a couple of inches to the right and away from me, and then just settled down. It didn't dip at all, so possibly Pike sort of mouthed and picked up the bait slightly, and it resettled, dropped the bait and the float resettled, or it's literally like a line bite. A fish of any sort has gone through the line and just moved the float slightly. Right, I'm just going to reel in my bait. There's been got a stick on it on the line. That'll just have to come in. Yeah, there's not really been a lot of activity other than that. I don't know, lion bite or something earlier. What I'm gonna do is just, I think I just caught this stick on the way in. Hopefully it hasn't been stuck on there all the time. Otherwise that would explain why I haven't had any bites. Yeah, what I'm gonna do is enhance this bait with some of this Holy Mackerel Red Predator Shake and Spray. So give it a bit of colour and just enhance that fish oily smell. Spray a bit on its head and its tail. Nice. Make it look like it's a fish in trouble. Right, let's get it back out there. Roughly cast where it was before, a bit further out, to the right. Is that settled? Yeah, that looks okay. Let's see if that added fish oil makes any difference. Just saw another pike on the surface over here. It was pretty long actually, probably 50 centimeters, so gosh, hard to tell how big it could be. 9 to 12 pounds, nice. Again, going up to the surface, really weird. I want them down on the bottom. There's one just cruising around, weirdly, like a carp in summer. Perhaps I should get floating bread out. Anyway, encouraging again. I've just set up a second rod. Same deadbait setup, pretty much. Just on the right hand rod, 6 feet to the left of this island, and then on my left rod, you probably can't see it, but I'm sort of roughly where I've been all morning. So on the right rod, I've got a natural roach, nothing added, just sort of cut into its flank a bit so that natural goes out. On the left one, I've got the enhanced one. The sun has shifted round now, so it's not in my face, so you can actually properly see the lake now. I've got one float sort of over here, middle of the lake, and one a little bit to the right. The one on the left is probably a bit under depth. I need to add another 6 inches to that, but it would definitely recognise a bite. Okay. Yeah, gorgeous colour of the sky and the trees here. No nibbles yet, but last time I brought my baits in, the one that had had lots of oil added to it, there were nibbles on it. Probably not really pike, but it had gone down to the bone in one place. So whether there's little fish, even crayfish maybe, eels, don't know, something nibbling away at the dead roach, not sure. Anyway, that was interesting. Caught two dogs in my net. Very nosy dogs. Here I found the brief history of Abbot's pool. So in the Middle Ages, these ponds were used by the abbots and monks from St Augustine's Abbey in Bristol to provide fresh fish whilst they were staying in their rest house nearby. The track running through the woodland is thought to have been used since Roman times. Then in the 1920s, a lot of the stonework was done. Nice. Facts. Right, I've been using a kind of match the hatch theory of fishing, which is basically fish with bait or lures that mimic or are what the fish would find currently in a natural habitat. So I've been using roach, as I've shown you earlier, but with no bites. So I'm wondering, just going to get some things out of, by the way, Deadbaits, excellent for Deadbaits. Just going to see what else I've got in here. I've got another roach. Oh, I've got a mackerel head and I think a smelt. Making a mess here. Let's see what else is in here. Probably the other half of a mackerel. Yeah, you see that? That is big. That could be a good winter bait. I think I'm going to put that on one of my rods and smell it from here. That's good. one side, put away the roach and his friends. I just think something a bit more exotic might get them interested. What else is in here? Got another big old mackerel with something tiny attached to it. And some more. Is that a roach or a sprout? I think I might hook that as my more natural bait. So there we go. I think on one rod I will, God, should I do a whole mackerel? I think I might. I'll do a whole mackerel on one, because they say that in winter pike want to go for the bigger baits, and then a sort of enhanced roach, I think, on the other one. So it's sort of semi-natural and a stinky sea fish in the whole mackerel that they never would have come across before. Let's give that a go. Gorgeous reflections of the trees on the lake at the moment. Just a little ripple as well. We've got 3 miles an hour of wind. I'm very sheltered here. That's gorgeous. Just trying to see where my float is. There's one about there. And there's one just over here as well. One with the massive mackerel, one with the roach. Looking at my fish forecast app, so the Solunar calendar. Yeah, looking at it, today is extremely high fish activity, if you believe in anything like that. Between 1 and 3 p.m. today, so coming up to 1 o'clock. So I expect it to explode with fish activity in about 10 minutes. Fingers crossed. When fishing, I spend a lot of time, well, I'm sure every angler does, just imagining what's happening below the surface. Like, I've got these dead baits under the float, probably on the bottom, but are they? Is there too much slack line? Are they lying in too much silt? Are they just looking really unnatural? What do the fish think of them? And there's more and more underwater footage now by fishing enthusiasts. And you know, you certainly see what pike do. They'll get close to a dead bait within sort of, I guess, 3 to 6 inches, and I guess they're trying to pick up is there anything they're picking up on their lateral line, any electrical impulses? Is it a live fish? Is it a dead fish? Smell what's drifting through the water. And you know, pike have big eyes. I suppose they're also thinking, is that something I want to eat? Does it look natural? Which begs the question with, you know, the rig, the deadbait rig with the trebles and the wire trace. You know, how much don't they like that? I guess it's similar to carp fishing, and you know, you're trying to make your bait lie as naturally as possible, to present as naturally as possible. Anyway, apart from the above the water surface distractions, which are all very beautiful, that's what I'm spending a lot of time thinking about, as we all do, I'm sure. Anyway, let's see. It's 1 o'clock now, so start of that Solunar prediction period of fish activity. It's really quiet here now, all this morning through to midday, 12:30. There's loads of walkers, runners, dog walkers, everyone lovely. Quite a few wanted to chat, see what I was doing. Obviously the usual, any luck? It's always gutting when people ask that when you haven't caught anything. I'm usually like, I've only been here a short while, even if it's the end of a sort of 6-hour session. But no, it's really quiet. You can just hear the waterfall over there. I mean, fishing is a kind of the epitome of a mindfulness exercise, isn't it? Apart from the in-between bits of fiddling with bait and so on, even that, but generally just staring at the water, at your float, waiting for any activity. It's just so focused and mindful and relaxing. I find for me it does take a lot of the worries of my life, the world, whatever, away. You are sort of 90% focused on that element of the fishing. And even when you're setting up rigs and hooking bait and so on, it's really quite focused, isn't it? And mindful. It's all good stuff. Just had a little knock on that left float there, the one with the big mackerel on. It was just a tiny little dip of the float, leaving those little ripples behind. Didn't move left or right, just a little dip. It's a moorhen. I'm not catching any fish, so I'm filming a moorhen now. Oh, there he goes. Nearly landed on my float. Is it heading straight for my float? It is. Oh, it was about to peck my float. There was a raven up there somewhere. Just heard it cronking. Oh, it just briefly went over the lake. So coming to the end of the session now, has not been productive. I think I'm going to start a trend in fishing videos where people don't catch fish. You can imagine the views have been incredibly popular. Anyway, at the moment I've got one dead bait all the way over to the left and one just over there in much shallower water. Chap was here for about an hour dead baiting as well in the shallows, no luck. Got a bit cold. No, it's been lovely and relaxing. Couldn't be any more beautiful here. It's just really stunning. I've imagined there's been a couple of tiny little bites, given the state of the dead bait when I brought it in, and just there's been tiny knocks. So whether the pike have just been sort of mouthing the bait and not taking it, I don't know. Maybe. I'll definitely come back. I think it is just, it's a waiting game, like fishing is. But it's good to know it works with 2 rods here. At the moment looks like I'm watching a tennis game, but I'm going to the left and the right. It's easier when both floats are next to each other. Yeah, I'll definitely give it a go here again. It's nearby, gets free fishing. It's pretty quiet, and I don't know, it couldn't get much more beautiful. It's really a stunning little lake. So that's it. Sorry I didn't catch any fish. Hope you have better luck. in January and February. Yeah, like and subscribe please, thanks.